Hello, beautiful souls. How are you? Are you staying warm? Are you staying safe? It is freaky cold out there right now in some spots. I'm traveling. I'm on a hotel Wi-Fi, so if it messes up the video, bear with me. Hopefully the audio will remain preserved. This is a very important message I need to get out today to the collective. So just bear with me. This is about the frequency imbalances. Okay, we have talked about this for a very, very long time. Go back and look at any of my videos. I discussed frequency in detail. What does it mean to you? How is it affected by the solar flare, the solar waves? How does it rise after you get cleared? And what does that do in your life? What I'm going to talk to you about today is the realization of how frequency imbalance causes a shift in reality, plain and simple. So, real quick recap frequency levels. When we say low frequency, these are the things that emit low frequency. Shame, the frequency level is 20. Guilt, the frequency level is 30. Apathy, 50. Grief, 75. Fear, 100. Desire, 125. Anger, 150. And pride, 175. You start to get out of that with courage at 200, and then neutrality is 250. So if you're in the 200 to 250 range, I wouldn't consider you low. I would consider you in the neutral range, hopefully on the ascension, on the rise. High frequency, this is what I'm talking about. Willingness, 300. Acceptance, 350. Reasoning, 400. Love, 500. Joy, 540. Peace, 600. And enlightenment, 700. Now, high frequency beings, just like the frequency coming through a stereo, a radio, a speaker, anything like that, if you're having to compensate for low frequency, okay? So a high frequency being has to compensate to meet the low frequency being because they cannot rise. They don't have the capacity. We have the capacity to go down, but that comes with a cost. What does it do? It slows down our processing. So the higher frequency is like our upgrade of our processing system in your computer, okay? So when you rise in your frequency, you can process everything around you quicker. You can see through the BS quicker. You can see beyond the veil easier. You can connect to your guides easier. You can resonate with truth easier. So it is like the most efficient form of truth finding is to have a rise in your frequency. Now, when you are functioning in your highest frequency, you do feel great. You have the peace, you have the calm, you have the sense of grounding. You don't feel disconnected. You don't feel anxious. You don't have the headaches. But when you're trying to merge a higher frequency being with a lower frequency being, there is an imbalance there. And with all imbalances come distortion. So when we try to accommodate for those lower frequency people, places, and things, this is not just about people, because every single thing in our reality has a frequency. We get worn out. We get tired. We feel drained. We are feeling like we want to get away, and they either want to chase after you and cause chaos, or they want to also escape because it's uncomfortable for them too. Lower frequency beings have no issues draining you of all your energy. They have no problem taking from you because they don't have the ability to take themselves, right? Heart palpitations, anxiety, fatigue, digestion issues. If your gut is really messed up around certain people, places, and things, that's a huge, say, my order of progression in recognizing whether something resonates or not is my gut talks to me first. The gut is always honest. It cannot be manipulated. Then my heart. And then I check in, right? Because I usually get these cues very quickly. And I check in with my higher self. I check in with source creator, check in with my guides. I never really consult my mind anymore because that's where the ego used to live, and I kicked that bitch out. So I'll get there. The beauty of the ascension process is as you go through the ascension process and you are evolving on a soul level, all these things transpire. They just happen as a natural byproduct of the ascension. So you start to gravitate away from those that make you feel like I just described. You start to put it two and two together that, you know, every time I walk into work, when I'm just getting dressed to go to work, I start to feel sick. And when I get there, within 30 minutes, I have a horrible headache. And it's not that I need glasses. I've already had my eyes checked. It's not the computer screen. They've already put the little thing on there. It's not the fluorescent lights, although that's not helping anything. It's that it's a soul sucking job. Sometimes you just got to face facts. You're in a place. That's what I had to do. I was in a place that was literally sucking my soul. Every bit of energy that I had, it wanted to take, and would have. If I dropped dead on the floor, they would have literally scooped me, put me in a bag, and replaced me as quick as you can say, oh, she died. When you have an energy clearing like I do with the quantum energy transformation, all I am doing is I am quickening the ascension process because I'm getting rid of the chakra blockages. I'm getting rid of negative cords and attachments to things that drain your energy. I'm getting rid of curses, hexes, and spells. They're real. They are very, very real. Hooks, daggers, and bindings. I'm getting rid of the distortions that do not allow us to function energetically like we were meant to. These are alien implants, Illuminati implants that were put on us intentionally to keep us in those low vibratory states, in the fear state. Because when we're fearful as a collective, we are easier to manipulate. Facts. I mean, just think about our lives, just the last 5 years. So when all that's clear, your chakra blockages are removed, your chakras are opened up, and the energy can flow straight down from source creator. You can ground to the heart chakra of Hunametea, Mother Gaia, whoever you want to call. Then you have a clear flow of energy, and that energy flow is power. It is your power. It is clarity. It is frequency. It is grounding, and it is healing. That's, again, another reason why they don't want us to know this, because they want us to be in a sickly, fearful, painful, guilt-ridden state. That's how they love us to be. That's why there's a commercial for every single thing that's cluing you in that you're in a place you're not supposed to be. They've made a prescription for it. So when you start this spiritual journey, innately, you will find that you tend to isolate because you're responding now to your body. You're recognizing, like, you know, thousands of people can't be wrong. That's why there's so many light workers and way showers saying the same thing over and over again. Listen to your body. Not everywhere that you've always been is where you're supposed to be. People are put in our lives because we have a soul contract. We needed to have these encounters, even though they were negative, even though they were soul sucking, so that we had the opportunity to choose free will choice to rise up above and out of it. Now, I am asking you to do an inventory on everything in your life right now. Literally everything that you give time, energy, emotion to, list it. And then honestly, not from your brain, from your heart, from your gut, how does that person, place, or thing make you feel? Because that is your first clue. You're supposed to be giving that your energy or not. Okay, so your frequency rises, things start to become clearer, you're processing things clearer, you're gravitating toward people that you may not have really noticed before because there was so much noise with the other ones. And that's another clue. The quiet ones typically are the ones that are centered and grounded. And so you're going to gravitate toward that because you want the calm. You want the grounded feelings. You want that higher energy vibration because it matches your frequency, and frequencies, alike frequency, attract each other like magnets. Now, we have recently had the actual split of 3D Earth and 5D Earth, and that is cracked open, and it's in process, but it has happened. The divergence of timelines has happened in a major, major way. And so that gray area is very, very small. It's a really, really small space to be now. It used to be huge. It has been whittled down to where you have a lot of people that are fully fulfilling the 3D timeline, and you have a lot of people that are fully fulfilling the high 4D, 5D timeline, and they have no business spending time together. They are incompatible in every way, shape, or form. Now, when you're doing your inventory and you have a ton of people, places, and things in your life that give you the creeps, that make you feel fatigued, that drain all your energy, they leave you feeling like you're unworthy, unliked, disrespected, unwanted, unloved. They fall into the 3D list. At best, low 4D, but a higher frequency being is not going to emit that. It's not going to bring that out in you. It's not going to make you feel lacking. You're not going to feel a lack of around that person. Okay. So our growth makes it really impossible to continue on these parallel tracks with these people that are not supposed to be in our future. These are the signs that as a soul is saying, hello, you learned your lessons from this. Let it go. Detach from it, because that's what's in your highest and best good. Now, we're going to talk about labels. When people in your life that have the label of mother, boss, sister, friend, cousin, fall into the category of they don't have a soul, they're karmic, they're not supposed to be in your future, they're supposed to stay in your past. That takes a lot of courage and conviction and commitment to your own self-care, self-worth, self-love to make that detachment. That's what you're being called to do. Source Creator, Mother Sophia, wants nothing more for us than to be in a blissful, joy-filled, compassionate, unity consciousness state where love is abundant. You cannot get there with some of the people that are in your life right now. It is impossible. Why? They're taking up space and they're taking your energy, preventing you from fully ascending because you have not made the decision to detach from them. It's easy to point the finger at those beings, but it really comes down to you. You have been provided with information to make the decision. You have been given opportunities to have these choices, and you have to make them. Then you have to carry them through and not be guilted, and not like ego say, well, how dare you do that? That's your mom. Like, how can you cut off your mom? Easy, easy. I felt completely horrible around her every single time I was around her. It was something I always had to recover from and work myself up to do. That is a clue you're not supposed to be there, not to mention all the other stuff. When we go through that list, you have to think about how you're going to take care of yourself. You have to think about what in this world you currently live in can you do. But you can also, when you're detaching from things you truly do not need and does not serve your highest and best good, it frees up a lot of availability to do what makes you happy in this now moment. And it will look completely different than what the world thinks you should be doing with your time and space. I can tell you. But whenever you do and you shift and you have less things and more time, and you are your only guidance, the only being pushing you in any direction is Source Creator and your angels and your own soul, you feel a sense of comfort and calm and peace that shoot your frequency up really high, really fast, because you're finally allowing your soul to breathe. You're no longer contracted in your chakras, you're expanded out. And you can feel the frequencies of things, and you immediately go, yeah, that's not for me. I have gone places before with all good intentions, not really aware of what was going to be there when I got there. And driving up, I'm like, this doesn't feel right. And I check in. Nope, this isn't for you. It may have been when you started out on this journey, but it's not today. Today is not the day. And so you just honor that. Every time you honor that, that's when you get the like celestial pat on the back, because you are honoring your authenticity and your sovereignty as a being. It is not about, you do not get accolades with Source Creator and Mother Sophia for being anybody's yes girl or yes boy or yes anything. You should always weigh, is this for me? It could literally be for 99 people, and you could be the one it's not for. That means you're being guided to pivot and find your own way, forge your own path. Again, courage is required, but it takes a whole lot more faith than courage. And it is so absolutely worth it. Fear, pain, frustration, anger. But of the biggest enemies, the ego. You have got to shut your ego up. The ego is a all about itself, mind manipulation, uh, total manipulation from everything we've been blasted with our entire life. And it is only about the things, the labels, the stuff that makes you feel empty inside and just drains your bank account. Okay? Drains your energy. Doesn't do anything for your soul. And it doesn't care to. That's the thing. If you are always bowing down to your ego, to that other voice, so you have your intuition says, this is for me. You feel really, really great. And then, real quick, here comes your ego. Who do you think you are? You're not going to do that. You're going to get up, you're going to go to this job, you're going to clock in, you're going to volunteer for overtime because we want that paycheck. We're not going to do anything that doesn't pay us because we want this. You know, at the end of the day, I venture to say you could take a poll of 100 people that live their life and, making their ego happy, keeping up with the Joneses, buying the cars, getting the houses, going on the vacations, having all the clothes, having the jewelry, having the things. At the end of their life, all that stuff does not make them a better human being. And most of them feel like they live a life that was lacking, even though they had all the things, because on the inside, they were not authentic. They were not sovereign. They did not take their power back and follow their soul guidance, if they even had a soul to begin with. Okay, I'm rushing because I gotta leave before the weather. All beings with a soul. This is another caveat. Go back and look at some of my other videos. It's a thing. So there's basically three types of people. You have some that are born of matter. They have skin, bones, blood, heart, lungs, brains, eyes, everything functions. They do not have a soul. They were not meant to have a soul. They are a non-player character. They are filling up the space. They are basically pre-programmed from negative AI out in the cosmos, coming here to further. They are like the masses. They are the ones that are out there telling you to wear a mask and get vaccinated and to do all the things the government tells you to do because they're looking out for your best interest. Those are mostly people without a soul and NPCs. Organic portals. They only have the lower three chakras. They cannot connect in their heart space. They cannot connect in their higher self. They don't have the ability to. It's not a matter of choice. They do not have the ability to. They have a micro soul. And they're in an evolutionary process that if they make higher dimension, higher consciousness choices in that micro soul state, their next incarnation will be, could be, not a guarantee, could be with a full soul, all the chakras accessible, and the ability to ascend. But that's when you do your inventory. That's when you check. They're very characteristic behavior and things that they tend to do in life that I see them now, I'm like, that is a total organic portal. And I go the opposite direction. Then you have fully souled beings, beings that have been on the planet with a soul and have been making their choices throughout life, and an enlightened soul that is of the light soul is only going to hang around in the body of a human that is making higher self, higher consciousness choices for so long. Okay, so you keep aligning to source, you keep evolving, you keep ascending, you stay of the light, right? You stay in alignment, you keeping on that trajectory of ascension. Now, you can have a soul, you can be making choices, and they're not for the greatest good. They're not in your greatest good. They are of the ego. They are for self. They are not good intentioned. They are causing harm. An enlightened soul is only going to stay with you for a little while, trying to give encouragement, trying to pull you back to the light, trying to be that center grounding in the positive polarity of yourself. But if you continue to ignore that, that soul will leave you. And it does. I've seen it many, many, many times. And it's a hard concept to understand, but an enlightened, that's all we are. Like an energy body, our spirit, our soul, comes into the form to have arms and a face and the ability to talk with a mouth and walk around. We are energy bodies. We can move throughout all of the universe in different dimensions with our energy form. And and above certain dimensions, we don't have bodies. These are choices to be able to have experiences and the events that allow a soul evolution. A body is not a requirement for a soul. A soul is not a requirement for a body. I know, but it's true. Now, doing your inventory, trying to be in that place of neutrality, understanding that there's a whole lot more people out there that don't have a soul than there are that do. So you can whittle down your list pretty quickly. For me, it was about 80% of the people that I knew had no soul because they had screwed around and their soul left them. They had bargained it away, or they didn't have one to begin with. I had a knack for attracting soulless beings because I was this big, bright soul, empathic soul, and I just gave it all out to everybody. So that's your first hurdle, really, is understanding that this is a situation that we're in. You want to be able to completely sit your ego down on the curb, mouth duct taped. You have no say in my life, is what you should tell the ego. You have no say in my life. Period. Get to the back seat. Never talking to you again. People say you got to have your ego to live. No, you do not. That's your autonomic nervous system. uh, it doesn't keep you from putting your hand in the fire. In fact, it probably tells you, I bet you wouldn't do that because you're not brave enough. It challenges you to do stupid shit for no reason. Egos don't save you, and egos don't pave the way to anything other than derailing an ascension process. Continue living with lower frequency fear, shame, guilt, pain, anger. All of that is your false sense of self, which is the ego, driving you to be in those low vibratory states. And that is what you will attract because that is the frequency that you are. So you will be surrounded by people that are in a fear state, people that guilt and shame and blame, and people that love chaos, fear, and anxiety. So if you have weaknesses, doubts, judgments, concerns, and fear, but you are enlightened of the light in alignment to source, you have all these doors wide open. And all the doors, that's what they say on it. They say, come in this door. This is the door for weaknesses. Come in this door. This is the door for doubts. Come in this door. This is the door for judgments. And whenever the darkness walks right on in because you invited them, they dig into that characteristic that you continue to perpetrate, and they make you more judgmental, more fearful, and they make you feel like you're more weak. and you plummet downhill. That's how it happens. That's how people that start out good intention of the light and in alignment to source fall off a cliff because they can't get over their doubts, their fear, their weakness, and their judgment of others. To allow, see, that's all shadows. You got to do that shadow work to get that out of there so that your being can be filled with light source energy. You can love the environment. You can love animals. You can love people. But if you're every bit of good that you do, you follow it up with a what do I know? Or if there is such a thing as a God, or whatever faith is, like as soon as you do that, you're taking the energy out of whatever you intended to put out. You're cutting it off at the knees, so to speak. As Yeshua says, we are our own hurdle, and you have to get out of your own way. And some people cannot do it. They're not choosing to do it. They could. They're not choosing to do it. Period. Massive amounts of light workers have done so much work. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Much gratitude to everyone who's on this journey with us. So we have reduced the amount of beings that the dark ones feed off of, basically. We have pulled from them their loosh production because we have a lot of people realizing this isn't for me. This isn't my timeline. I'm not going to participate in this BS. This is not my narrative. This is not what I'm doing with my life. It doesn't feel good and I'm not doing it anymore. And boom, your frequency rises and you detach from these people, places, and things that have been feeding off of you your whole life. So that makes those of us that are super bright impossible to be around, quite honestly. I have a frequency that I'm going to instigate change. It's if you have some shadows that you've been procrastinating dealing with, or family or whatever that is not in your highest best good, but they're still lingering around you, having an effect on your life. My frequency brings that to the surface as much as a galactic wave of energy coming from the Arcturians or solar waves coming in via CMEs and Z flares and X flares. It is huge and you have to make a decision. It brings it to the surface and you have to make a decision. And one of two things happen. You are then activated to further embody your sovereignty and know who you truly are and realize what is your main purpose in this incarnation and your soul life. And you go for it, which means you detach further. Or you give into the ego, you give into the guilt, the shame, the blame, the how could you, who do you think you are, the fear, and you fall off the cliff. That enlightened soul says, peace out. This is not for me. Your body, your mind, and your ego want to be here and be miserable. You have manifested exactly that. I'm taking my energy body and I'm going in the direction of higher consciousness. Happens all the time. When it happens, usually the ego has gotten so strong, they go, no, I'm good. I feel great. Okay. Well, 6, 7, 8, 25 people that are clear, that are confirmed clear. That means that there's no distortions, there's no negative cords, there's no entities, there's no implants, there's nothing between them and source creator and their higher self. And they ask that, and you're not of the light and you're no longer in alignment. Oh, and by the way, your soul left you too. They're not wrong. Hello. So we as higher frequency beings will trigger the work, the shadow work that needs to be done, just like anybody that needs to do shadow work. Okay. Triggers are pinpoints on a map of where you need to do the work. This conversation is triggering you. Please, for the love of source creator, look in the freaking mirror and see who you really are on an energy level and what role you have played in your shadows and do the work, because you will free yourself from it and you will no longer feel that way, period. I have people say all the time, why are you so calm? well, there's nothing for me to be anxious about. I have all the answers coming through me direct from source. Something could cross my mind that is not for me. And within 3 to 5 seconds, I get a message. You're right. That's not for you. Stay focused. And I do. I simply listen. That's the part of being open to truth, accepting of your guidance. Okay. There's this meme going around and it's super appropriate for this conversation. And it's ask Cole. Don't be an asshole. An asshole is people who ask all the right questions and they get loads of information and then they do the same stupid shit over and over again. You're an asshole. Stop disregarding higher consciousness advice. Higher consciousness beings, ascended masters, by definition, are energy beings that have ascended all levels of consciousness and are on a level of neutrality, no agendas. They're going to give it to you straight every single time. So when you ask them, be prepared for the answer, number one, and listen, because they definitely know are more wise than you are in this human form, for sure. So when you ask and then you don't listen, and this goes on for months and months and months and months, you are the hurdle. You are the issue. It is not other people. It is you. It is your choices. Now, talk about that. Talk about that. When we are looking at ways to deal with all of this, you want to get clear. You want to get a QET session. You want to start with a blank canvas. It's much easier to know when you have a negative distortion once you've cleared everything. In the beginning, you have so much, and I mean like thousands. Average, I remove average of around 15,000 negative cords and attachments. Usually somewhere between 5 and 10 astral bodies, which causes insomnia, nightmares, night terrors, sleepwalking. Curses, hexes, and spells, that's usually in the 20 to 50 range. Everything, it's big numbers. So when you clear that out, then you can know what normal and good feels like, what clear feels like, and you can pick up on the distortions. First thing you want to do is get a QET session with a trusted, clear, confirmed clear being. Then you want to have a process of energy hygiene where you not only clear yourself, but then you check in with other people and you say, can I get a clear check? Because if you have distortions and you say, am I clear? Your distortions are going to be like, yep, you're clear. And let's not let her, let's see how far we can move her down the negative polarity pathway before she realizes she's not clear. Distortions do exactly that. They distort the truth. They distort your information. They distort your impression, your intuition, all that. Checking in is called spiritual accountability. You're just checking in with other beings that are also doing their hygiene. Yep, I'm clear. You're clear. We're all clear. It's like making sure nobody's touching the body before you deliver a charge in the ER for CPR. Okay, second thing, must kill ego. Put it to sleep. Put it out on the curb and drive away. Stop listening to the ego. Plain and simple. It's a choice. Just like anything else in life, you choose to listen to it or you choose to not listen to it. Detach from the labels, mom, friend, cousin, boss. Detach from them. They are avatars and they either have a soul or they don't. My humble advice is if they don't have a soul, you don't give them any of your energy and you don't allow them access to your energy. And if they have a soul, is it of the light and alignment to source creator? If that is also a negative, the answer is no. You don't get any part of me. And then you move on. Meditate, ground, be open to answers from your guides, get out in nature, but all in moderation. Okay, you can't spend your entire life meditating because then you're doing too much of one thing. You can't spend your entire life outside or exercising because then you're not giving yourself, your being, time to be. You don't get to know who you are if you're always in the awe and wonder of everything else. There has to be time for introspection where you process your healing, or you process your downloads. It's different for everyone. If you do not have the ability to be with yourself, comfortable in your own skin and space for hours and days at a time, where you do not need other people to feed your ego, you do not need other people to tell you how much they missed you and how much they love being spending time with you, because you give yourself every single thing and then some that someone else will give you. That's the thing. We have to get rid of all of the own self-hate, self-loathing. We don't love ourselves. Who's going to love us? If you're looking for love, but you don't like things about yourself to the point that you cannot stand to be alone with yourself, you have got shadow work to do. Please stop looking for a relationship because you are not ready. You have to love yourself the exact way you want to be loved. And only then will love find you. That is true. You want to be the best person for you. That's why you are it. You want to be the best being, the best spiritual being that you can be in this now moment, every moment that you can. And anytime that you can't, give grace to yourself, forgiveness, love yourself through it, and rise up again. It's when you embody these habits on a day-to-day basis and you're not beating yourself up and you're not crying about being lonely and, oh, I miss people hugging me and I just want to lay next to somebody. Well, that's just physical bullshit. Okay. A true compatible on a every level relationship is so much more than hugs and laying next to each other. Okay. Do I know what that's like? Not in this life, but I've had it and I have it in the fifth dimension. And we all have the opportunity to get back there, but we've got to master this incarnation that we raised our hand and volunteered. When you do the shadow work, you clear all that shadow out and you let the light in. You let the light in, the energy flows. When the energy flows, you process things clearer and you are your own best love. You fall in love with yourself. You realize that the things that you wanted other people to comment and love and respect about you, that you now comment and love and respect about you. And it's okay if someone else recognizes it, but it's most important that you recognize it. That is the goal. When you see it in yourself, when you feel it come from within, and you have honored yourself enough to give yourself time for self-love, self-care, self-healing, you really reap the rewards of that for so much longer than if anybody comes up to you and says, you know, your hair looks great today. I mean, think about that. When you leave no room for growth because you think, because your ego has told you that you are the light and you couldn't be any more light and you are so loving and you're so this and you're so that. Is that truly how you feel on the inside? Because if you feel empty and you feel like no one loves you, it's because you don't love you. So get rid of the shadows, clean out from under the rug, get rid of the stuff that reminds you of bad events that were karmic and were supposed to be left in the past anyway. And then let the light in. The light heals, the light cleanses, the light aligns. The light does so many things that cannot be done in darkness. Unloved, unwanted, unworthy, unliked, unappreciated. If you're around anything that makes you feel that way, those are signs you're not supposed to be with that person. If it's you, start with you. You are the end and the beginning. You are your own hurdle. As this split, the divergent, continues to deepen and grow wider and wider and wider, you're going to see more people in your world being triggered. If you were on the ascension rise and you're doing all the stuff and you're aligning and you're checking in and you're making sure you're clear and you're moving away from people that aren't, you're going to trigger them. Now, the biggest thing is that we maintain our healthy boundaries and we are just stay in a loving way. This is not my highest and best good, and I'm not going to participate in it anymore. And then go away. Leave them alone. Your life will be better for it. I promise you. And they can go create chaos somewhere else. You do not have to be a part of anyone's chaotic story because that's not your timeline unless you choose it to be. Let go, let go, let go. Let it go. There are many, many, many people that we contracted to do certain things with in this life. And when those things are done, you're supposed to let them go. They're not supposed to be with you forever. They were supposed to be with you for that thing, whatever that thing was. That thing could have been one event and it turned into 5 years. That thing could have been one marriage and it turned into 2. I don't know. But whatever it is, that comes with clarity. When you check in and say, my higher self, am I supposed to be doing blah, blah, blah with blah, blah, blah? Is that my highest and best good? You're going to get a yes or a no. Or you're going to get, you can't know yet. If you get, you can't know yet, because whatever was supposed to happen is not finished yet. Now, you can also find out, is this a karmic relationship or is this a divine relationship? And that too is a very good indicator. Karmic relationships do not ascend. They don't go with you. They're not meant to be in your future. They're meant to be in your past. This is going to be one of those videos that you want to bookmark. You want to go back and listen to it. And I put a bunch of stuff in here, but every single thing that I've mentioned, I've done entire videos on. So go back and check my other videos in the past. A lot of the stuff I recorded last year, because Source has always been my party planner, and he has always told me what to record. It's coming up now. The Karma Dharma video talks about ending the 26,000 year cycle of karma. And I talk about frequency, and I talk about soul contracts, and I talk about organic portals. I talk about all of this stuff, all of it. And if you're feeling really, really lost, it's a good place to start, because I just give it to you straight and let you make your own choices. And if you choose not to even watch the video, and then a week later you go, yeah, there was some truth in there, I probably need to watch it again. Great. That's great. That's evolution. That's progress. That's good. Give yourself credit for that. Give yourself grace. Give yourself forgiveness. Give yourself the love. You have won it your entire life. No one can love you like you love you. Thank you for joining me today. You guys stay safe out there. And I promise you, the best is yet to come.